we have what we need. We're
Mhm.
looking for satisfiers of what we lust for, what we crave, what we desire, and all that sort of stuff.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
From a lot of multimillionaires that I have attended this podcast, over 500 so far, I always ask them, if you had to start all over again, what would be that thing that you would put more attention? What would be that thing that you that will you will do it better? And 90% of the people, especially in the tech entrepreneurs, the answer is always the same: Harry, culture. And if I knew that it's gonna take me 100 times longer and 100 times harder to achieve my goal, culture and leadership within that culture of my company will get me there sooner and with less pain. Yeah. So Roy, um, because entrepreneurs, sometimes people go in business and they have such a huge ego that people are going in business. I've been there, done it, lost. We all been there. Oh, I'm the big box here. Everybody had to do whatever I say, otherwise you fire. Yeah. And if you go with this mentality, yeah, there is no leadership. There is there is a very short possibility that your company is going to succeed. However, if you go and you put attention to culture and you enhance leadership within the organization, you're gonna find yourself in the position. Look, in my property business, we managed to sell over 5 million. One day I arrived to the office and the team told me, Gary, Harry, go home. We don't need you. We can run this company without you. And they literally sent me home and become obsolete in my own company. I didn't even understand what's going on. Yeah. So Roy, tell us, how important is the position in leadership, and what message do you have for this entrepreneur that they don't become good learners, like you say, because the ego is on the way that they know best. The ego is on the way that they have this company because they are the big boss and everybody has to do whatever they say. And after you find them losing money, um, tension in the company, and nobody understand what's going on.
Well, I mean, the first thing is leaders operate within a context. Okay, too many people think this is a gee whiz thing, and let's go out and let's be charismatic. Let's be good at conflict management. Let's do all this stuff. And quite frankly, it's bogus, and I'll tell you why. Leaders exist within a strategic context. Their role is to execute the strategy of the business and drive performance to the highest possible level. Okay, so they're not existing for any other reason. And so one of the things that I find is that most entrepreneurs don't create strategic context. They can't exist on any other basis other than their ego because they haven't created context. If you don't have context, you don't have a frame of reference. You don't get, right, what it is your journey is all about. And so one of the things that I had to do is create my own strategy building process, which I can do, by the way, in 48 hours with clients. It's called strategic game planning. And it's a model that I created all around facilitating the ability to execute. And so what we do is we basically answer three questions, right? Three questions, and you have your strategy. The first question is, how big do you want to be? That's a question around top line revenue. It's not net income, because you and I can play with income statements all over the place and give you whatever numbers you want, right? But you can't hide from top line, because that's an expression of how the market feels about you. So the first question we ask is, if you're at 5 million, do you want to be at 10 in 24 months? By the way, and I don't deal with 5-year plans, don't exist in my world, because the fourth year never shows up, right? So where do you want to be in 24 months? Now, it makes a difference to do that up front, Harry, because the how big question creates the character and the risk profile of your strategy. And yet, most organizations deal with the economics last. They create this pompous, helium filled as Peter Drucker would say, strategy, they look at the numbers and they go, oh, the numbers aren't good enough. Let's change the assumptions about growth. And then the numbers will change, but they don't touch the strategy. How insane is that? All right. How big do you want to be? Second is, where are you going to get the money? It's who do you want to serve? Okay. Which are the customer groups that have the highest potential to deliver that revenue growth? And you nail them down, as few as possible. And then you take a deep dive and you ask, not what do they need? You ask, what do they crave? This is a world where cravings, and actually we're talking about leadership here. Everything I'm talking about is about leadership. The world of cravings is kind of an interesting one because it's so passionate and so emotionally driven that it's generally price insensitive and there's no competitors. Why? Because they're too busy worrying about what people need. And the reality is, most of us, we have what we need. We're looking for satisfiers of what we lust for, what we crave, what we desire, and all that sort of stuff. And that's a sweet spot. The third question is, in those customer groups that you just defined, Harry, how are you going to compete and win? So this is all about differentiation. So I had to create my own process called the only statement. It's not about being better and best and number one and market leader, because I call that claptrap, doesn't mean anything. It's about being the only one that does what you do in the customer groups you've decided to serve. That process creates context for leadership. If you don't have that, guys, stop what you're doing. Okay, don't be narcissist, because you are. If you do what you think you need to do, all you're doing is spreading the virus of narcissism, and we have enough of that. I mean, you said
it doesn't lead to succeed.
Well, one of the reasons that we talk about, the benignness and the inadequacy of leadership is because of narcissism. Okay, people doing what they think they should do as opposed to what other people that they're serving crave of you. Okay, and that's the difference. I mean, a marketing-driven entrepreneur looks for cravings. They look to serve those people that they want to eventually transact and engage with, and they have the same attitude about their employees. I mean, you can't have an employee, right, that wants to do HTML coding and put them in front of a customer without a one heck of a lot of work, right? You just can't do it. And so I would say to leaders out there, it's not about the practice of leadership. It's about creating context and serving people in a way that allows the strategy to be executed. And that leads to a whole bunch of things that I did in as we got to $1 billion in sales around crazy concepts like killing dumb rules, hiring for goosebumps, cutting the crap, all this stuff that was oriented towards micromanaging, right, the machine and the parts in the machine that we absolutely relied on to deliver value to the outside. So if you don't get the context, stop what you're doing.
100%, Roy, and it's very important what we're sharing, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about this because I is the key of the success of the organizations, right? Before anything else, and I want to share with the audience, what this context, what this empowering context looks like. Yeah, because I did create one, Roy, by accident. I have this property business. Yeah. And then everybody comes to me. All the clients want to talk to me. Yeah, I'm thinking these people are gonna kill me. There are so many. When I sleep, all these people want to speak with me. And then I had the team coming, everybody to ask me questions. So I go to the office once and I said to the team, okay, guys, this is how we're gonna do. Don't come to ask me a question if you don't have 3 solutions. Yeah, come and ask me a question, but propose some solutions. Otherwise, don't come and ask me. Yeah, because you guys have too many. I'm only one. Yeah, so I'm trying to make the job easy for me. Yeah, because I'm protecting myself. I said these people are gonna kill me if everybody can come to me, ask me everything. So by axiom, Roy, I create this empowering context that you're referring to. Literally by accident, because now the team is coming and say, okay, Harry, we have this problem. These are the 3 potential solutions that we have for it. And then I was telling them, okay, which one do you choose one? Which one is your favorite? Why shall I choose? You can choose. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we have to choose the other one. No, there is nothing, no different that Harry choose that you choose. Actually, you better to choose because you come out with the solution yourself. What do you think is better? And then after a month or two, there is a joke in the office that says, "Oh, don't ask anything to Harry. Harry is useless. We need to figure out the thing by ourselves." Blah blah blah. 1 month down the line, they're joking. 2 months down the line, they're joking. And after 6 months, I go and they literally send me home because I would say by accident, because I didn't have the experience that you have, and I didn't create that intentionally, but by accident, I created this empowering context where it's not about Harry. It's actually about your solutions and empower your solution and pick your own solution and believe in your own solution. And you have Harry here to serve you, to give you support. If it works, works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And we try again and everything. And it's okay. I don't need to prove that I'm the owner. I need to prove that I'm the CEO. I don't need to prove to anybody that I had to take the solution. So the whole point is, Roy, that the only thing that I did is I started to hire people literally that were better than me at everything. I was the worst in the company. In fact, my manager was telling me, "Harry, the only problem in this company is you. Go home. You don't need holiday. Go." I'm like, "Guys, you don't need paper in the printer." I said, "No, we can go to one paper in the printer. Go home." So I think that, Roy, by accident, honestly, I created this empowering context that you're talking about in terms of leadership, that
No,
they feel empowered, that they can run the company. And it was amazing, right?
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying, with respect. Okay. What I'm saying is that leadership creates the context and people are empowered to execute within that context. Like, I'm not a guy, this never worked for me to say, go do your own, have a good idea and go do it. No, that's not what we're here to do. What we're here to do is drive the performance of the organization and achieve the strategy that we've all agreed to do. The journey that we've been on. So what I did is I created this notion called leadership line of sight. And so what we did is we literally translated the strategy for every employee in the business. This was a big business. We're talking 7,000, 8,000 people. Okay, wow. It was a data and internet company that we took from a monopoly environment into a competitive environment. And when we had this strategy, what we had to do is make it real for every individual. Okay, we didn't simply say, here's a strategy, go do it. No, that would have been dysfunctional and chaos. But what we did is once we literally translated it, and that's a really important function of leadership, is to be able to translate the strategy in terms of what does it mean to sales? What does it mean to marketing? What does it mean to all of that stuff? Once we did that, then we said, okay, that's your role. Okay, how you do your role, I'm open to have a conversation with. Okay, but make no mistake about it. Don't go invent any other role. I'm not empowering you to go do anything else. This is what you have to do, because otherwise, you see, you get dysfunction, especially in a large organization, and everybody invents their own sort of activity plan. That's chaos. In a world that's really complicated, changing quickly, you need to be absolutely mindlessly focused on the strategy. Where you can loosen up, and I agree with you here, is on how you achieve some of this stuff, allowing people to use their own good judgment and their own sense and make mistakes, as long as you never make the same mistake twice.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.